Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Anybody got any night drive stories? Weird or scary things you experienced while driving around at night? Nothing unexplained or supernatural. Just saw a meteorite come over the highway and appeared to explode when it went out of sight. It was a pretty bright trail of sparks. Then a huge white flash lit up where it went out of view. Either blew apart, hit, or left the atmosphere. I point out that I have driven as a courier for 20 years, and for the past 8 years have been driving nights all around New England, like Western, Central Massachusetts, Southern New Hampshire, and Vermont, over the darkest, most remote rural country unlit roads. I am open to everything, but honestly have never encountered anything I could not readily understand and explain. One of my favorite things is driving like that, especially in fall when the leaves are falling and the air is chilling, and put on some nice, long, extended Grateful Dead jams from 72 to 74, which get pretty creepy. I have found myself thinking up creepy stories and have considered how easily this region inspired H.P. Lovecraft's imagination.
This happened on a road trip in the mid-90s, driving through northern Nevada, moving in law shit to Seattle from New Mexico. Huge 24-foot moving truck and friend as co-pilot. Had drove for 18 hours straight. Come to roadblock. The highway is shut down because of a wildfire miles down the highway. Have to use back roads to get around, but low on fuel. Bring out Thomas Guide. This was before car GPS and cell phones. About a 75-mile detour. Figure go for it. Turn around and go back a fork or two. Take the road northward. The road is hardly used. Do not see another car. See trash bags on the road. Looks like it has been there a long time. The road turns into a literal one-lane road, then into the gravel road. Reach the point of no return on gas. We decide to stop when nature calls and reconsult the map. No structures visible for miles. Finish up, light up smokes, get a map out. Figure we are headed in the right direction, and this road meets up with a larger road than a town. Get in and switch to the passenger seat as Buddy starts driving. Driving again. No stations but Fire and Brimstone Christian on radio. Listen to it anyway. We are drinking coffee from a thermos. Smoking, laughing, life is good. Glance out at the road. See a person laying in the road. Yell out, "George, look out." He spills coffee and twists the wheel. The person had brown on and blended in. Too late for brakes. George swerves halfway off the road. Go up a small embankment. Dirt and dust spray into the air. Come back down onto the road violently. The front right tire gets back onto gravel. We come to a screeching halt. We both bumped our heads inside the cab. No blood, but rattled. Get out of the truck to check out the tire. Suddenly remember the dude laying in the road. Head back towards the spot. No street lights. The flashlight is in the truck. Go back to get it. Hear George yell, he is up and running. George has a small pen light aimed across a culvert and into a forest of dead trees. I shine the large light and see the same brown color crashing through the dense dead brush. It looked like a tall, thin man with a brown cloth folded around his face to conceal his identity. His clothes looked like a rough fur or gunny sack. He ran maybe 100 yards into the trees and then stopped. I got a cold, deep fear in my stomach as the dust from our skid filled my mouth and nose. Everything fell silent as we both listened intently. George yells out, "Hey man, are you okay?" The thin man answers. He screams a blood-curdling scream back at us from the woods, like an animal caught in a trap. We both looked at each other in the flashlights, turned and without a word sprinted back to the cab, jumped in and locked the doors. We floored it out of there. My guess was he was trying to off himself. He moved too fast to be a drunk passed out in the road. George says it was an Indian trying to make us crash to rob our truck. I didn't unlock my door until we crossed the Oregon border.
3 friends and I are driving home a girl around 3 a.m. Suddenly, the passenger and I see a blue light in the sky descending. It is bright as hell, so I could not make out the shape of the craft, and it was high enough to pass through the clouds. My friend and I were speechless, and we could not tell the passengers until after we lost sight of it past the tree line. After the shock wears off, we tell the people in the back seat about it and drop off the girl. So we are driving back to a friend's house going 55 miles per hour, and a white owl flies up next to my car and has his head pointed directly at us. He is staring at us while flying 55 miles per hour. The owl is close enough to roll down the window and touch him. He flies off after 5 seconds, and then less than a mile down the road, another white owl does the same thing, and everyone in the car starts screaming out of some kind of primal fear no one could explain. For some reason, I slam on the brakes, and everyone yells at me to keep driving. I have seen the same blue light multiple times since then. One time with the friend who saw the first one. This was before that dumb movie The Fourth Kind was released. This happened in Georgia, by the way.
I got one for you, OP. First, a little backstory. This was 2 years ago. I was visiting family in Mexico with my mom, sister, and brother. We went to Los Mochis, Sinaloa, which is a 2-day trip from SoCal. There is this pitch-black span of road between Sinaloa and Mexicali. Literally no lights, the pavement is black, and it has no lines or side guards whatsoever. Story time. We are driving back from Sinaloa when we enter the dark span of road. It is somewhere between 2 and 4 a.m. I have been driving for about 6 hours. My mom is making small talk. Brother and sister are dead asleep. As my mom is talking, I can feel my eyelids get heavier and heavier with each passing second, so she nudges me to stay awake. Around the third time she nudges me, I see a car in front of us. Came out of nowhere. Literally 1 second the road was empty, the next 2 red lights appeared within my field of vision. So being the good driver that I am, I drive at a safe distance. As I am driving, I feel this huge brush of air against the side of my face, had the window down, followed by the faint sound of sirens. Not a cop in sight, but I can still hear them. The car in front of me starts acting strange, swerving left and right. Mom and I are just going, what the fuck? The car comes to a complete stop. I have heard stories of people being robbed and shit when they investigate stuff like this. So I just move over to the left and keep driving. About a mile down the road, the same car passes me at Mach speeds, followed by the sounds of sirens. Still no cop. I am going around 85 miles per hour. That fucker is topping 100. He starts to act strange again, swerving. This time, it is different. He makes a sharp right turn. The car flips and lands just outside the road, tires pointing upwards, and the top against the desert floor. Simultaneously, we hear an ear-piercing scream. Screw this, I am investigating. I tell my mom to lock the doors and wait in the car. I pull out a wrench from my trunk and start walking. As I near the crash site, I feel a sharp, cold wind run down my spine. 60 feet to go. As I get closer, the car starts to vanish. It is pitch black, so the only thing I can see is the contour of the tires against the night sky. As I get closer, that starts to vanish. I arrive at the crash site and all I find are tracks. Car tracks. Nothing else. Car tracks embedded on the desert floor. I walk back to my car and get in. Mom asks me what it was. It was nothing. Literally nothing. She looks at me in awe. I buckle up and drive at top Mach speed back to civilization. Never speak about it again.
I've never really had any driving experiences I would consider paranormal, but I've driven down a lot of creepy, seldom used backwater roads in the south. One of them was at like 2 a.m. in the middle of a big swamp. The locals told me it was used scarcely and only during the day. It was so overgrown with small logs on the road all over it, and parts of it underwater, it took me like an hour to traverse a like 7-mile road. Saw yellow eyes staring back at me when my high beams hit them and then disappeared underneath the near-invisible water constantly. At one point it was like 10 sets of eyes, not more than 30 feet from me. Pretty sure at one point I heard something get eaten out in the distance. If I had suddenly broken down in that ditch, I would have just curled up like a baby and stayed in there until morning. No fucking way was I gonna risk getting out in the dark, stepping into water I couldn't see, and getting grabbed by a gator.
Ex-trucker here. I used to drive a logging truck in Canada and Alaska, and I have seen some shit on the road at night. Saw a fella's head rolling down the road after his trailer got rear-ended and he got decapitated on the edge of the pipe he was hauling. Saw a trucker that was too drunk outside of a bar in the wintertime and wandered outside and fell in a snowbank. The flies found him in the spring and he was all chewed up. Saw a family of 4 in a station wagon get crushed inside the car till the car was only like 5 feet long. The only supernatural sort of thing I ever saw was a ghost in an old shed that I took a crap in one time on the side of the road outside Tanacross. I bullshit you not. I had drank a bunch of coffee after a huge 2 a.m. breakfast. I usually squeeze out a turd if I know I am 5 hours between bathrooms. I keep a few rolls of TP in my cab. So this time the highway from to Fairbanks was closed till the plows came at dawn. I knew there was not another bathroom for miles, and I was stuck there idling on the side of the road. I started eyeing places I could shit in this snow. Out to the right I saw a small old cabin. Maybe more of a shed. The roof was old cedar shake and had given way to the snow in spots long ago. The building was leaning far enough in one direction so that the door could not even close in its frame anymore. I looked around one last time before climbing in with toilet paper in hand. As I entered the building, I was struck by how warm it was and looked around for a heat source. It was still fairly dark inside and I could not make out anything. I listened intently and heard nothing. My bowels rumbled, reminding me why I was there. I sat between a small bench and a broken chair and dropped my pants. As I was buckling up and admiring my shit pattern, a wave of heat hit my back. I immediately spun around. I was staring into complete blackness, darker than before. I knew I was in trouble and had to get the hell out of there. I turned to the door but could not see it anymore. I went to scream for help and suddenly felt fingers on my face, hands on my chest, arms grabbing at my legs. I am pretty sure I cried out and just ran toward where the door used to be. In the dark, it felt like 10 people were trying to hold me in the building. It felt like an hour to run 10 feet to the door. I made it to the door but cockeyed and fucked my shoulder up pretty bad. I fell onto my knees into the snow, both in pain and grateful. I got up and stumbled a few times, scrambling away from the pure evil that was in that woodshed and back to my truck, covered in sweat, snow, and a few tears. This was before digital cameras, but I did notice that a few years later on the same route, the thing had tipped over completely. It was late at night when I passed it that time, and there was no way I was getting out to investigate.
Yes. Yes, I do. Driving solo to Show Low to visit Grandpa earlier this August. 20-plus hour drive and too cheap for motels. But thanks to ADHD, had me a bottle of script scraps to tide me over. It was monsoon season, and I was on the midnight leg of my drive, and the moon is waxing. If you have never driven through the Arizona desert at night, or lived in Arizona during monsoon season, then nothing can prepare you for how indescribably beautiful it is. Unfortunately, I was driving through New Mexico in that big stretch of nothing between Santa Rosa and Albuquerque. Still, I was the only car on I-40 that night, and the weak moonlight barely illuminated the flat desert around me. Every so often, lightning would light things up and make shit actually visible. I remember seeing a tall saguaro off to my right, just blacker lines in the night. It was easily as tall as the one in Pick related. I watched it pass by, because highway hypnosis is no joke. The moment it passed by my passenger window, lightning struck off in the distance, and I saw the cactus clearly for the first time. It is like the instant this thing was in view through my passenger window was broken into 3 frames. First frame, something tall and thin standing about 20 feet off the road, standing with arms held up to the side of its neck like it is doing the fucking YMCA. Second frame, a head flipping around from a long stocky neck and peering down at my car, Third frame, the arms of the cactus bending down. Needless to say, I gunned it at 90 miles per hour until I hit Albuquerque, never looking back. When I got to Show Low, I actually told my grandpa about what happened, because I am not a dumbass creepypasta protagonist. All he said was that if you got scared that easily, you probably should not go round the Superstitions at Night. Then he fucking chuckled and kept drinking his beer. So my question, /X/ is what's in the Superstition Mountains?
I have got 2 of these from when I was in high school. The first one, I was driving my girlfriend at the time home. She had to be home by midnight, so I am racing down these country roads surrounded by farms in every direction. It must have been fall or just a chilly night because we were driving with all the windows up. To the left of the road, there was a tall row of pine trees at the edge of the farm. Out of nowhere, a super bright light appears in the sky, insanely bright, not shooting star bright. It is flying downwards at maybe a 70-degree angle to the ground. Right before it hits the tree line, it veers maybe 10 degrees. At the point when it would have hit the ground, the light goes out with no bang or any sound. This all happened in maybe 1 or 2 seconds. I'm practically shitting my pants. My girlfriend was freaked out too and does not want to talk about it. Ask her about it multiple times over the next week and she still does not want to talk about it. My guesses for this one is either ball lightning or a firework. It was traveling at the ground as fast or faster than a firework shooting upward. Maybe somebody shot it from the top of a barn or something. Maybe ball lightning. It definitely did not look like any firework I've seen. The second one is in a similar part of the state, maybe 15 to 20 minutes away from the other one. 2 of my friends were driving me back to my parents to drop me off. We are on another country road, but this one is closer to the town. We are driving down this big hill that is maybe a quarter mile or so until the bottom. As soon as we hit the bottom, the whole car fills up with a bright green light. I turn around and there is another bright light, but less bright than the last one, floating 20 feet above the road in the center of it. For 2 or 3 seconds this continues, and then nothing. We all freak out, pull over, regain our composure, and continue. They both saw it too and said it was floating above the road. This could have been kids waiting for a car to pass and then shining a green laser pointer into our car and hitting the rear view mirror. It could have been an illusion that the light appeared to be higher than it was. It still seems like it would be tough to consistently hit the rear view mirror without the laser appearing inside the car. It was the same green as the green laser pointers they sell, though. Maybe they were just hitting the back window.
Driving along barely used roads surrounded by woods. Lots of that in the south. Going pretty slow with the window down, enjoying the autumn air. Hear a bunch of birds chirping out of nowhere. Spot them flying up out from the trees to the right along with, oh shit, a deer. Hit the brakes and lean out the window to look, thinking it was a bit odd. Hear a little rustling from the right. Shortly afterwards, hear something that resembles the sound an owl makes when it is in a fight. If you have never heard this, I envy you. They used to do it all the time near my house. Look, but cannot really see anything. Maybe some leaves or twigs moving in the wind. Tell myself it probably was just an owl, but I'm starting to get shaken up. It was not so much the noise. I have heard foxes screaming on the same road, and that does not bother me. But because my mind was on what could have spooked those birds and deer. Hear 2 loud cracks that sounded really close. Nope, the hell out of there, senses activated. Floored it without looking back. Short and pretty boring. It probably was just an owl fucking up some bird's nest in a bush. But when you're out and alone in the middle of the night, it's pretty easy to lose your nerves.
I've got a couple. These stories all come from a road trip I was on where I was sleeping in the car. Lots of driving down unlisted country roads in the middle of the night trying to find a spot where I wouldn't be bothered. These stories are from those occasions. First one, turning onto the country road I am familiar with, have stayed there a couple of nights while checking out the area. Usually deserted at this time. Turn a tight corner, see a car parked up at the side. It is facing me and looks empty. No fogged windows or anything. Would not be too weird in the day because dog walkers or cyclists, but this is the dead of night. Slow down and have to pull up onto the grass verge to pass. Headlights shine into the car as the car tilts up on the verge. Suddenly see the driver and front seat passenger. They are not human. Facing forward completely still, huge black eyes, elongated faces, yellow skin, mouths stretched open so wide their chins almost vanish behind the dashboard. Abruptly, look away. Just focus on driving past. As I come alongside the car, I see two more in the back. All four of them stare at me as I pass. Get past. Hit gas. Do not look back. Did not stay there that night. Second one. Another narrow country road in the dead of night. This one has tall hedges on either side. Taking it slow because of tight bends. Come around an especially tight one, practically crawling along. Just as well really, because right where the light from my headlight starts fading, there is a child. A child just standing in the middle of the road. It is a boy, and he looks about 3. What the fuck? I stop. As I do, the child turns and begins running down the road. I am obviously worried, so I move along after him, keeping my speed low. He keeps running kind of like a rabbit. Panicky, jerky movements, darting back and forth to the sides of the road. Hedges are too high, though. He runs around a corner. I come around it a few seconds later. He's gone. Nowhere he could have vanished to. Because again, tall hedges. No way he could have reached the next corner in those few seconds. Flip my high beams on to make sure. Nope. Nothing. Drive out of there. Find somewhere else to stay. Start seriously thinking about motels.
I got one for you guys, and it doesn't involve spooky ghosts or monsters, in the fictional sense. My dad is actually the one who told me this. It happened to one of his good friends from high school or college or something. I can't remember the finer details, so forgive me. Late 1970s. Dad's friend and her best friend are on a road trip. Both are attractive brunette young women. Driving through Colorado, I believe. Late into the night on an empty road or highway, they come across a guy with a broken car waving for help. Keep in mind that this was the 70s, so, people were less cautious back then and all of that. Pull over and stop to help him. Very handsome and strikingly charming guy, seemingly around their age. After talking for a bit, the guy reaches into his trunk to get out his spare or something. Takes out the hammer instead, starts bludgeoning the girl, the one who my dad did not know. Beats her to death. Bludgeons the other girl, Dad's friend. Gets in the car, runs her over before driving off. Turns out my dad's friend survived, but the car running her over paralyzed her from the waist down. Her friend was killed. I believe she was found later that night and rushed to a hospital. They never found the guy, but at least my dad's theory is that it was Ted Bundy. Same area, same period of time, same type of target. Then again, it could be any psycho, but who knows?
Driving at night out in the country, Nova Scotia, in the middle of December. Cold as hell night, but clear skies, moonlit. Xanaxed off my head because fun. Head down the dirt road because it's fun. Head down the logging road because it's fun. Speed up on icy logging road because it's fun. Way too fast to walk out, hit a snowbank and rip off the bumper. Turn off the engine, check if I can get out. Looks possible. Get back in the car, will not start. Suddenly aware of where I am. Cannot see anything beyond headlights caused trees on either side. No one knows where I am. No longer having fun. Too spooky to get out. Try for an hour to get going. Nothing doing. Hear the vehicle coming. Shit. Get in the car. Spooked. 2 hunters get out of old beat-up Chevy. Ask if I'm okay. Say I was looking for a friend's house but got very lost. Car trouble, please help. Glance into my car. Tell me to get out of drive. Automatic needs to be in park to start. Oh, for God's sake. They push me out of the ditch with a truck, drive off into the woods, go to Walmart, duct tape up my bumper, buy a Santa hat while still high. In hindsight, 10 years later, I probably could have easily been killed or kidnapped out there. 2 to 3 people a year disappear in my county alone, and finding the car in the woods burned out, nobody is common. There's a lot of meth and pot here, and beyond that, just a fucked up area. People have gone to field parties and get found dead, tortured, and mutilated. Nobody talks to cops. Just hope they piss off the right person and get into a hunting accident. They could have easily overpowered me, taken my car, and sweet Xanax. Weirdly had guns on the rack in December. Not sure if the meeting a friend thing mattered, but probably wouldn't if I met the wrong people out there. I don't get fucked up and drive because fun anymore.
Driving my 99 Grand Marquis. Luxury sport with digital dash. It is 3 a.m., storming away, cruising down an empty highway with no other vehicles for miles around. Suddenly see a group of people on the side of the road waving frantically. Slow down to see what all the fuss is. A strange group of people in raggy clothing. I start to notice that several of them have peg legs, and even more have hook hands. Suddenly realize that they are all semi-transparent. Ghost pirates. I floor it. My big American V8 roars to life and I take off. Ghost pirates wave their fists or hooks while yelling pirate curses. Suddenly they are chasing me in a ghost pirate ship. Switch to overdrive. Leave them in the dust. Just as they are fading away in the distance, they fire a ghost cannon. It hits and shatters one of my taillights. Make it safely to town shortly after. Get pulled over for a broken taillight. Cops will not believe my story.
Nothing supernatural, but here we go. In town for summer, well, more of a small village than a town, no more than 300 people for summer there. 1 o'clock to 1:30 a.m. We are going to a party at a nearby village, even smaller population. 3 friends and I in a small car traveling through dark as shit and twisted roads. 2 of those friends are locals, pretty much know everyone, and, this is important, their cars. At the side of a road, we spot something in the distance. It is a huge white van. The locals have never seen a van like that around. The driver slows down. Roads are pretty tight, so better be careful. When we are approaching, this guy comes out and gives us the stop signal. Driver, no fucking way I am stopping. Who the hell are those guys? Those? Well, yeah, it turns out there were 2 unknown guys there. That fucker stands in the middle of the road. He gives no sense of urgency or something like, "Help us, our van is broken." Dude was chilling in the middle of a dark road with no lights on around except our car telling us to stop. Locals are really nervous at this point. We are getting closer. He is not doing anything other than telling us to stop. We are almost there. The driver ends up having to get half the car out of the road to avoid this guy. We all turn our heads to see what the fuck is going on. Those 2 guys are just looking at us, smiling like the creepy fucks they are. Average clothes, average faces, kinda old. They had something set up. Could not see shit since they did not have any light on. After leaving those guys behind, we were all really creeped out asking if anyone knew who they were. This may sound stupid, but it's really weird to see an outsider around there. When we returned, they weren't there. I wonder what that was all that about. Other than that, driving around creepy roads at night has been surprisingly peaceful, except for the usual almost crashing on a boar.
Most nights then, I will drive down to New Cumberland, Pennsylvania, from Lewisberry, Pennsylvania, for a cold beer and some darts, and one night, in October 2012, was no different. On the return trip, not long after midnight, I was on Route 382, headed east towards Lewisberry. As I was approaching John Brenneman's place up on the right, just before Brenneman Drive, I saw someone walking towards me along the side of the road. True, it was late, but it was rather mild for October, so it was not out of the question that someone might be walking along the road. What was odd is that he was quite tall, 6'6" or taller, and really, really thin. In the few seconds I was looking at him, I noticed that he seemed to be dressed all in black, with black pants, a tight black trench coat, very, very dark skin, and short, dark hair. He was either limping or having trouble walking. As I debated slowing down, maybe someone had had an accident, he dropped down to all fours and quickly scampered across the road in front of me. He has a face that was, as I said, coal black, with a cross between human and canine face, and then he was gone. When I got home, I had not really thought much about it, but over the next day or two, it really started to give me the creeps. I did not say anything to anyone for a few days, then told a few close friends. Being self-employed and fearing derision, I was reticent to make much ado about it. Although I have always been an enthusiast of the paranormal, cryptozoology, ghosts and such, I have always been a dyed-in-the-wool skeptic. I cannot explain what I saw or begin to postulate what it was. I only know I saw it, and it creeps me out. I did some research, and the closest I came to a picture was one like the Texas stilt walker, which I have included for comparison purposes.
Visiting my family in Montana also was a hunting trip. Second day of hunting and my cousins are working, so it is just me this day. I go out around 4 p.m., 30 to 40 miles out of town. Take some dirt roads only trucks can take. I am sitting out there alone with my windows down, chilling. I start getting a little creeped out by the animal noises and shit moving around. An hour goes by and I kind of get used to it. But it feels different. I can feel someone watching me. Some rustling in the bushes does not sound like little critters. Anyway, another hour goes by and I'm roaming around in the woods. I finally caught one of my tags, a young buck about 20 feet away. I shoot it and start gutting it. This takes me about 30 minutes and another hour hauling it back to my truck. When I finally get it loaded, it was around 8 or 9 p.m. and the whole time I was hauling it back, I swore I could see shadows of a couple people. A couple of times I was so convinced I yelled out to whatever was out there. No response though. So I am outside of my truck smoking a celebratory cigarette when I saw it. Out in the distance, about 20 feet, in the moonlight. The woman figure looked like it was dancing, like a ballerina, but slower. I yelled out and she stopped and just went back into the bushes, a very thick forest. I get in my truck and start driving off, cannot go very fast, maybe 5 to 6 miles per hour. The road was very unkept. I keep my eye out for the woman. Down the road a ways, I look to my right a bit and see someone running alongside my vehicle. It was in the woods off a ways, so I could not make out any face. I finally get to some good gravel road and haul ass, but when I make it to the main road, I found someone had closed the gate. Luckily, it was not locked, but just closed. I am sitting there like shit. No time to think though, so I get out and almost kick the gate open. I am walking back to the truck when I see a head with long black hair poking out from behind a tree just looking at me. Then I see her arm hugging the tree with something in her hand. Looks like a knife, was not sure though. So I run and jump inside my car and put it into gear and start to drive off. As I am driving off, I see that she had started running toward me since I began to run. I hear a thud from the back of my truck. She had smacked it with whatever she was holding. I look from my rearview mirror and she looks pissed, still chasing after me. I call the cops later telling them everything that happened. The cops tell me they have had similar calls and also have reported some murders that have happened in the area. Cops were not sure if they were connected with this woman.
Hi guys, I'm not good at writing or expressing thoughts even in Russian, let alone English, but I would like to tell you a story which I found and translated into English. My English is kinda bad because I'm still learning it. We have a lot of paranormal stuff here in Russia, a lot of websites about it, and the stories there, as it said, are supposed to be real stories that happen to real people. I'm pretty sure that paranormal things exist. I don't know why and whether it depends on religions or not. A lot of Russians, especially from rural places, encountered weird things. You can hardly find a family that has never faced something paranormal. Okay, here's the story. Hello, my name is Nico. I want to tell you a story that had happened to me many years ago when I was serving in the Army. It took place in 1995. After a year of serving, I was sent into a military unit in Siberia. By this time, I'd already served a half of the term, 1 year. New squad accepted me nicely, and I got along well with everyone. Everything was nice there, except the place was really distant from the civilization. It's situated in 20 kilometers from the nearest city, among wilderness of the Taiga. In 10 kilometers to the north, there was an old but still working quarry. Once in a while, we, the soldiers, were sent to the quarry to help there with daily kinds of jobs. From the words of other soldiers, I learnt that back in Soviet times, somewhere around were carried out underground nuclear explosions. Before I got to the military, I was a veterinarian, so I was appointed as a military canine handler. I was in charge of a few dogs. All the dogs were German shepherds. The dogs were being trained for finding and rescuing people who had disappeared in the woods. I was given a dog to train. It was a young German shepherd by the name of Taiga. It was a really strong-willed dog and was hard to tame. On the first day of training, the dog even bit me, but after that we got along well. She was really smart and had a good flair. Half of a year passed, and I was anticipating the day of freedom, when I would be sent back home. It was a day in August. It was sunny, but was not hot. I and a few other soldiers were sent to the quarry to load a truck with sand. After a few hours of working, we were sent back to the military base. In the evening before the sleeping time, I went out to see the amazing north night sky and smoke a cigarette. Unluckily, I was noticed by a drunk lieutenant who hastened toward me and yelled, "Hey, soldier, you must go to the quarry now and take my gun," which I had forgotten there. I said, "It is already night, please give someone to go with me." The drunk lieutenant said, "No time for this, you must go there right fucking now." So that night I left the military base alone. I was going on a path among north woods at night. The farther I went, the more frightened I got. I remembered all stories about weird things, about disappeared people, about spirits and lights in the woods, about the radiation, about wolves and bears. I tried to cheer up myself, but I failed. The wild, deep forest escalated the horror, and I was almost panicking. I intended to reach the quarry after an hour and a half of walk. After a long walk, I felt that it was already time to reach the quarry. Then I saw faint yellow lights somewhere ahead among the trees. Thank God, there it is, I thought with relief. The lights must be coming from the quarry's searchlights. After a minute of walking, a thought came to my mind that these were not searchlights, because the lights that were coming from behind the trees were not homogeneous. However, it seemed as if people with lanterns were roaming somewhere ahead. I stopped behind a tree. The lights went on, however the shimmering lessened. I glanced to that side again from behind the tree. For a few seconds there was darkness, but then the lights appeared again and started going my way. I did not know what to do. I was frightened as hell, almost crying. I realized that the lights only start approaching me when I look at them. So I sat behind the tree for maybe an hour, all paralyzed with fear. The light was still shimmering, neither getting brighter nor fading. I decided to run away from these sources of light and not look back. After a long run, I thought I broke away from these things, so I looked back. The thing that I saw was surreal. I saw a ball pursuing me. It was very bright, as if made of red-hot metal. It was about 1 meter in diameter. It had outgrowths on its surface, and the whole thing resembled a hot red underwater mine. The thing was rolling on the ground, leaving traces on it. The last thing I remember is I screamed. I woke up in a hospital. The doctors told me the rest of what happened. That night, I neither reached the quarry nor came back to the military base. Officers gave commands to organize a search group. There was no stone unturned left in the surrounding woods. They could not find me. They declared me a deserter and extended the searching area. In the evening of the second day of searching, a command was given to get back because it was almost night already when my dog, Taiga, suddenly rushed to the depths of the forest. Next morning, the search group took the trace of the dog with another dog's and found at first pieces of my clothes and then a bit farther Taiga lying on my unconscious naked body. I was found in 40 kilometers from the military base in the opposite direction to the quarry. The pieces of my torn clothes were lying in equal distances from each other. There were stains of blood on it. I was barely breathing. Doctors said the dog saved me because if it had not spent the last night with me warming my body, I would have been frozen to death. For some reason, there was not a single hair left on my body. Doctors examined my body and did not find anything unusual or wrong except the fact I lost all my hair. I do not know what happened there in the woods. Doctors tried to recover my memory of what happened with hypnotherapy, but it did not give any results. I cannot remember what happened there at all.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.